Everything we do is going to be about winning. Okay, we're going to learn to do things the right way, and that's the only way we're going to do them. Because if it doesn't help us, we're not doing it, man. That's just as simple as it gets. Win the Super Bowl.
That's
I
good.
mean it too. You know, one of the things that the only reason you become a head coach in this league, in my opinion, is to win. That's it. That's the bottom line. If you do it for any other reason, you're wrong.
Hey, Washington football fans, welcome back. Today, we're going to do part 4 of our defense versus their offense, where I go over how our defense, the heart and soul of our team, matches up against our opponent's offenses. Now, this is part 4, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell down below if you want to be here for every episode as I drop them. And yeah, so we're starting out in week 6 against the Kansas City Chiefs. Arguably the toughest matchup we have all season, going against Patrick Mahomes. It's going to be a rough one, guys. Now, let's just start out by going over the team here. And, of course, you got Pat Mahomes. You know who he is. You know what he can do. But in the offseason, they picked up some very important pieces. They learned from their Super Bowl loss, and they went pretty hard to address the offensive line. They traded for Orlando Brown Jr. from the Ravens. They're moving him over to left tackle, and he's coming off a PFF grade of 76.5 last season. He's been a hell of a tackle, but still going to see how he does up there in their scheme. They also went out and grabbed Joe Thuney in free agency, and after we franchise tagged Brandon Sheriff, he was pretty clearly the best guard in free agency, so, you know, they beefed up that left side pretty well. And in the second round of the draft, they went after Creed Humphrey, who, arguably the best center in the whole draft. 80.9 PFF grade coming out of college. Perfect 10 RAS score at the position. This kid could hit the ground running and do a pretty good job, but center's also a position that usually takes a bit of, you know, experience to handle in the NFL, so it's either him or Austin Blythe, and either way, I mean, I think he gives him the better option, but still could be a strength or a weakness. Not sure how good Creed's going to do coming out. They also have Kyle Long, former first rounder, 3-time Pro Bowler, coming out of retirement. He was retired last season. Coming out of retirement to join the Chiefs and try to grab himself a Super Bowl ring. And he'll be starting at that other guard spot. And they also bring in Kyle Long, by the way, was a 9.85 RAS way back when he came out. They also brought in Mike Remmers to play right tackle. 70.1 PFF grade last season. 7.82 RAS. Decent piece. But let's go ahead and move on to the running back, Clyde Edward-Helaire. He had a 75.3 PFF grade last season. 5.44 RAS score coming out. I mean, we've had some trouble with the running game, but he's not a major concern for us, I don't think. Because at tight end, they have Travis Kelce. Now, this is a major problem. One of the, if not the, best tight ends in the league. Had a 93.2 PFF grade last season. A 939 RAS score coming out. I'm sorry, 929 RAS score coming out. We all know Travis Kelce's a beast. But I remember one of the last times we played him, or maybe not, but I remember when we played him, we still had Josh Norman on the team. I remember Josh Norman knocking the crap out of him, little Josh Norman. So maybe, just maybe, Jamin Davis can handle him. A lot of teams had trouble with him last season, but Levante David did a very good job of covering him in the Super Bowl. I know it's a big ask for Jamin Davis to do something that Levante David did, but he's got all the athleticism to handle it. Maybe Jamin Davis could lessen the impact of Travis Kelce. They also have Tyreek Hill, possibly the fastest man in the NFL. He had an 83.2 PFF grade last season. He's the one with a 9.39 RAS score. Crazy athlete. We all know about him too. So this is where Bobby McCain and William Jackson are going to have to kind of prove their worth. They're going to have to match up with him. And they also still have Mecole Hardman, who really hasn't shown in the third role to be any kind of a major threat. He had a 69.8 PFF grade last season. He has a 8.30 RAS coming out. Serviceable, but not the caliber of weapon that, their main two threats are. They also picked up Cornell Powell in the draft this season, 75.1 PFF grade in college. Another guy I liked coming out. There was a ton of awesome receivers. I think everybody got one, either undrafted or in the draft. He had a 7.58 RAS score. Just something to think about. Now, I know lately a lot of Washington football team guys, YouTubers, other people, they've talked about how well we match up against the Chiefs, but I think this is going to be the worst our defensive line looks all season. I think Pat Mahomes is going to be able to get the ball out pretty quick. I think he's going to be able to just outdance us. It's going to be tough. The Chiefs added a lot of pieces to that offensive line. And I think that just augments the magic of Mahomes. And it's going to be a tough game, a really tough game. I think that we could possibly, with Jamin, maybe erase Kelce, or at least limit him greatly. I don't think Hardman's going to be an issue, but we're going to have to really, really try to contain Hill. And as far as those new linemen go, at least half of that line is going to be pretty stellar. But our line could, overpower them. It's just Pat Mahomes back there is going to make plays. He's going to make magic happen, and he's going to get it to Hill, down the field. It would take something crazy, in my opinion, for us to win this game. I feel like the offense would have to hang 40 points on them, which is kind of possible. I'll talk about that. I'm also going to do a series about our offense versus their defense. So I'll touch more on that later. But I don't think that the Chiefs have that great of a defense. So if we can affect Patrick Mahomes enough to slow him down a bit in the way that Tampa Bay did, even though he has a much improved team now, maybe we could win this game. But sadly, I don't see it happening. And this could very well be our second loss of the season as far as I see it. But yeah, it's going to be a tough game. And then week 7, the Green Bay Packers. Now, will they have Aaron Rodgers or won't they have Aaron Rodgers? We don't know that. It's two vastly different games. Either way, but outside of Rodgers, let's go ahead and get into the team. They have David Bakhtiari, 91.8 PFF grade, 6.72 RES. This is one of the best pass protecting offensive tackles in all of football. But he's coming off an injury. By week 7, he should be up to snuff, though. And he is definitely someone that could stand up pretty well to our defensive line. They also drafted Josh Myers, another great center. Him and Creed Humphreys were very good centers coming out in the draft this year. He had a 65.4 PFF grade, quite a bit below Creed Humphreys. But he could be good, or, like I said, a rookie center coming out could be a liability. Elgton Jenkins, guard, made the Pro Bowl last year with a 67.7 PFF grade. Now, that's kind of ridiculous when you think that Wes Schweitzer, our backup swing guard, had a flat 69. Nice. And he, didn't get any mentions. Still, this guy, 9.34 RAS coming out. He's got a lot of potential. And just a little little funny tidbit. If you go to his wiki page, his picture is of him holding up Montez Sweat's jersey. They must have swapped after the last time they played. It's just a little funny. He's holding up Sweat's jersey. Also on that offensive line, they have Lucas Patrick, a 64.8. Another good RES score guy at a 9.30. And then on the other side, I guess the other tackle would be Billy Turner, 69.3, 7.18 RAS. These guys are all pretty good athletes. But they're all kind of, pretty well under 70 grades. PFF grades of 70, except for Bakhtiari. I don't look at this as a very good, a very threatening offensive line group for us. So I'm kind of, the phrase like a knife through butter is going through my mind here. So regardless of if it's Rodgers or if it's Love, it's going to be a rough game for him. But then on to tight ends. Robert Tonyan, he got a 68 PFF grade last season. He had an 8.84 RAS, but he balled out last year. This guy had no yards after the reception, but he got out there, he went up, he got him. He was touchdown machine. He was always just get past the sticks and catch the ball. We got to keep him from doing that. And then I think they're going to have a pretty nice three-headed monster out of the backfield. And that could be a definite problem for us if we haven't improved our run defense. Now, of course, they got Aaron Jones. Everybody knows about Aaron Jones. He had a 79.4 PFF grade last season, 9.21 RAS coming out. A.J. Dillon, who was a bruising monster coming out of Boston, the guy I really like. Now, he's kind of slow, but like I said, this guy's 230 pounds, maybe more, just big monsters running back. He had an 81.4 PFF grade last season. Very, very limited, though, in his touches. He was a 9.16 RAS coming out. And then in the 7th round, they managed to steal Kylan Hill, who he kind of does it all. He's nice, quick running back between the tackles and a receiving threat. So they have a nice little committee in the backfield there that could be a problem. At wide receiver, though, they've got Davante Adams, who's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. He had a 92.2 PFF grade last season, which, I mean, pretty damn good. And he doesn't really have anybody else there to help him. They drafted Amari Rodgers, who, pretty good slot guy. He had a 79.1 PFF grade coming out of college, but just not a lot of help for, guys for Rodgers or Love to throw the ball. And, I mean, there's a ton, like Equanimous St. Brown and all those guys there, Marquez, Valdez, Scantling, but none of those guys are really that good. I just don't see them as a threat. Like, I don't see any of them as a threat. So, as far as, quality options, there's really only one for Rodgers or Love to throw the ball to. Now, if Rodgers isn't there, I see this game as a 10-sack lopsided blowout where we just dominate poor Jordan Love. If Rodgers is there, it's one of those games where you see Rodgers pissed at his team because he's going to be out there taking a hell of a beating. He lost his center in free agency. We should be able to get interior pressure all day. We don't know how healthy Bakhtiari is going to be next season, and he is far and away the highlight of that offensive line. We are going to be in his face all day long. And like I said, they added Amari Rodgers in the 4th. Decent slot guy. Don't see him making a lot of difference. And we can shut Davante Adams down with, Willie Jack Part 3 or double him if we have to. They just don't have much else to offer us. Now, I'd say our defense it's going to be better equipped than, most to dealing with, running backs, catching passes out of the backfield, just because that's something that we do offensively. So they'll be used to seeing that. I just don't see a lot of ways, even with Aaron Rodgers, that they can beat us. He doesn't have enough around him. I understand why Rodgers is so upset about his situation. And maybe this will be the true nail in the coffin when he gets out there and goes up against a team that's so well built from top to bottom, that's only missing a quarterback, that he's like, man, I want out of here now. And that's just if he isn't already gone. But I see us winning this game no matter what quarterback's on the field, but definitely 2 different games if he's there and if he's not. So guys, that was part 4. Like I said earlier, hit the subscribe button down below. Ring the notification bell for when I drop the next one. The next one's going to be the Broncos and I think the Bucks. So yeah, we get to talk about how we're going to do against the Tom Brady rematch. So if you guys watch the video, I love you. Take care out there. Peace.